Welcome to Wealth Coffee Chats, folks, for your daily live updates. Get the most out of today's episode by participating in the chat. Make sure you ask some questions, be part of the conversation, have a bit of fun, grab a coffee or a tea, take some notes, and get ready to start your day, folks. Quick few housekeeping rules, though. No spamming, no advertising or self-promotion in the chat. That's not on. Be kind and respectful to everyone when participating. And most of all, have a good time. Real estate investing can be your biggest asset. It also can be your most expensive asset when it comes to getting it right or getting it wrong, folks. It can be time-consuming, stressful, and that's why here at Positive, we have what's called a 6-star team, a full-service team that provides integrated wealth and property investing solutions and services simply designed to help you progress towards your goal of passive income through your property portfolio, folks. Make sure you check out our other podcasts on the Positive Mentor Network. Not only is there Wealth Coffee Chats, there's the Urban Property Investor. Drops every Wednesday with straight talking investing strategies and lessons with Sam Saggers. Property Investor Tales. This is where our clients, you guys, share real life stories from property investing, hosted by some of our advisors and strategists. And that's done every fortnight, dropping every Monday. Wealth, Wine and Wisdom, folks, that debriefs the week that was in the world of finance and property, hosted by yours truly, Jason Witten and Andy Fenton on Fridays. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chats. Marvellous Monday. Hope you're well, folks, wherever you are. If you think it's Get Rich Quick, you're in the wrong place. This is the wrong podcast. This is the wrong live for you. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. Hope you're all awesome and well.
Morning, everybody. Welcome to another Finance Friday on Wealth Coffee Chat. As always, I like to start with a joke. But this was actually a quote that made me laugh as I was reading it earlier on this week. And it goes, "A bank is a place that will lend you money if you can prove that you don't need it." And this quote was by Bob Hope. Funny yet realistic at the same time. So wanted to share that with everybody. Just wanted to say good evening to Kevin. Thanks for joining us. And also good morning, Jeff. 5 moved in with 5, then they were tenants. Oh. Not sure in regards to your comment there, Jeff, but if you want to elaborate, I can give some feedback if needed. Morning, Rosie. I wanted to actually start firstly just to give everybody an update on what's actually happening in terms of some of the fixed rates at the moment. Last week I said that fixed rates were dropping. They're continuing to drop. Obviously that means that there will most likely be some rate cuts in the near future. At this stage still, it looks like it'll be 2025 before that actually happens. One of the lowest rates available in the market at the moment is 4.99. Now, we haven't seen rates like this, since last year, since around June last year. What does that actually mean, and how does it actually help you? Now, I've been thinking about this over the last couple of days. In the past, when fixed rates were lower than variable rates, the conversation I had with my clients was, what kind of split do we actually want to set up so that you can take advantage of the split rate, because most of the split rates don't have a redraw or an offset facility. And working out what portion do you want as a variable and what portion do you want as a fix? Because obviously with the fix, you're saving interest because it's a lower rate, but the variable, you can also save interest by the amount of money you actually have in your offset account. And sometimes we work out the splits to be 50-50. Now, for me, working out these splits means sitting down with my clients and actually going, what's the difference between the variable rate and the fixed rate at the moment? And what's the likelihood that interest rates would, on the variable interest rates, on the variable portion will reduce to less than what the fixed rates are? Now, if we were to look at rates currently at the moment, there's about a 1% difference between the rates, which means approximately 4 rate cuts before the variable rate will be the same as a fixed rate. So potentially what you could look at is fixing part of your loan at the moment, working out the variable portion and how likely you'll be able to pay off. So how much of the variable portion you'd be able to pay off, say if you're fixing it over a 2-year period. So if you had a loan of say $500,000, you could potentially look at fixing 400 and leaving about 100 variable, and based on your repayments, you could pay off that 100 within the 2 years. Once that's paid off, then you could review the loan and see how much where rates are at and whether you want to continue fixing it or not. I've had clients who've been able to implement that so that you're focusing on paying off a small amount of variable, but you're also taking advantage of the fixed rate. A key to this is making sure that you keep an eye on the actual fixed rate of your current lender. Now, the reason why I say this is that there is an ability to break the fixed rate, and the cost to break the fixed rate is based on what the current fixed rate the bank is currently offering. Now, if the variable rate comes close and the bank's fixed rates haven't moved much, then the cost to actually break the fixed rate portion so that you can take advantage of the continued downward trend on the variable rate may be very minimal. Again, this is all about making sure that you constantly review the loan structure that you have and you're maximizing so that it actually helps you pay off your home loan faster. Now, the goal here is always to set up structures and processes so that we can actually pay off our home loan faster and then use the equity to accelerate our wealth creation. Something that I found really interesting this week. Morning, Chris. I'll just loop back to a question Tim's said. Fixed rates usually don't allow it. You're 100% right, Tim. Most of the lenders don't actually allow extra repayments on fixed rates. There are a few lenders that actually do. There is a limit on how much you could pay into the loan, depending on the lender. It can be between $10,000 to $20,000 per year on the fixed loan. That's why I said. That's why I was recommending to my clients at the time to look at both the variable and the fixed, and using the variable with the offset, so that you can still make additional repayments and reduce your interest while taking advantage of some very low fixed rates that we've had in the past. So as I was saying before, my team and I were doing some calculations in regards to some of our clients who actually had HEX debts. And as you know, HEX debts, when you declare HEX debts on your income, the HEX debt actually comes out as a compulsory repayment based on your current income. So at $54,435, that is when it triggers your HEX payments, and it starts at 1% of your income. And this increases up to 10% when your income is $159,664 or above. Now, the reason why I share this is that portion, whether it's 1% or 10%, is fixed, regardless of how much is currently owing on your HEX debt. So what the banks do is they take a look at your take-home wage, which means at $54,000, they're going to take 1% off your income. That's dramatically going to impact your borrowing capacity. 10% off 159,000, a reduction of about $16,000 in your, let's just say your take-home income, is going to make a huge impact on how much you can actually borrow. So keep that in mind when either yourself, if anybody here still has their debts, or if your kids start looking at their first loan, this can make an impact on how much they can actually borrow. There are a couple of ways that we can address this, whether if it's a small amount, whether we pay that out. If it's a large amount, whether we look at being able to borrow some funds to pay it off so that it becomes, I suppose, a variable payment as opposed to a fixed deduction out of your wages. That's something that definitely you should have a conversation with your broker about. The other debt that we find has an impact on borrowing capacity is afterpay. So $1,000 limit on afterpay reduces your borrowing by $5,000. Now, majority of the time, the afterpay is over a 4 repayments. So you generally pay it off pretty quick, but the banks will want you to pay it off so you would actually want to pay it off so that you can maximize how much you can actually borrow. This brings me actually to the top, to what I wanted to share today in regards to these type of debts. Now, when I sit down with my clients, we generally go through, your income, all your expenses, and all your personal liabilities. And a lot of times the personal liabilities are variables that can be used to increase how much you can actually borrow. What I do with my clients is I sit down with them and I go through all their personal liabilities, and then I actually go, if you were to pay this off, this is how much it would affect your borrowing capacity or increase it. So in the case of HEX, there's not a necessity to pay it off straight away. Same with the afterpay, same with credit cards. What you want to do is be able to understand that if these debts were paid off, how much more could you actually borrow? And is that amount the loan amount that you actually require to complete a purchase of a property? Once you've understood that, you can go away and find a property. And once you've found the property, the application can actually be submitted to the bank, as long as the brokers make notes to actually say these facilities will be closed prior to settlement. Now, not all banks are going to agree with that, but what usually happens is that you'll actually get a conditional approval. So if everything works out, and the only thing outstanding is for you to provide confirmation that these facilities have been closed, they will then issue you an unconditional or a formal approval. So that means that you actually don't have to close these facilities until you already know that the banks are going to lend you the money. So don't fall into the trap of thinking, these have to be cleared before I even submit an application. No, it doesn't. As long as you understand that it may be required to be closed, depending on how much you actually need to borrow. And that doesn't actually need to happen before the application is submitted. Okay. So I wanted to share that with you, because I think that a lot of times I've spoken with clients where I've said, we're going to discuss closing a credit card, and they're like, do I need to go and do it tomorrow? I said, no, you don't. This is just a discussion that if we need to borrow up to this amount, then you go and close your credit card before the banks will issue you the final approval, or even at settlement. Okay. Have a wonderful weekend, guys. Like and subscribe, and I will see you all next week. Have a wonderful weekend and enjoy your Friday.
Episode of Wealth Coffee Chat, folks. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you never miss a thing when we go live. Improve your portfolio and investing game, folks, with Wealth Coffee Chats live every morning at 8:10 each weekday. Make sure you join us. Previous episodes are also available wherever you get your podcasts, folks, as well as our other podcasts from the 6-Star team here at positivementor.com.au.